Chairman Jin, how do we scale up globally the investment we need to address climate change?
Thank you very much. I think it's a very good question. AIIB has the goal of being Paris aligned by July the 1st, 2023. And secondly, achieving at least 50% of climate finance by 2025. And third, becoming the partner of choice for green and sustainable infrastructure. AIIB's climate finance increased to 48% for all its investments in 2021 and is set to achieve its target of 50% by 2025. Of this, 78% was mitigation finance, 20% adaptation, and 2% dual application. Recognizing the limits of its own financial resources, we in AIIB are actively working to mobilize private sector capital in a number of ways. And at the project level, as you know, AIIB looks to use its resources most effectively to enable private sector financing. This includes de-risking projects through providing longer tenor loans, first loss investments, or guarantees. Additionally, it provides equity and debt financing to funds and financial intermediaries to spur targeted investments into technologies, frontier markets, or extend its reach into smaller scale projects, while also lending its support to such intermediaries in their capital raising efforts. We at AIIB also look to mobilize funding at the sector level, particularly with a view to mobilizing larger long-term institutional capital. This includes its own sustainable bond framework, but also investing into the green issuances of clients and developing innovative structures such as emerging markets CLOs. To date, AIIB has invested more than $1.4 billion in green and sustainable bonds in Asia, including the Asian Climate Bond Portfolio. The Asian Climate Bond Portfolio project financed with Amundi includes a comprehensive AIIB Amundi Climate Change Investment Framework for translating the three key objectives of the Paris Accord into fundamental metrics essential for investors to select climate champions. The AIIB Amundi Climate Change Investment Framework has been used to produce a new research report produced jointly by Fitch, Carbon Trust, and CBI that looks at how sectors, companies, and bond issuers are doing in their climate performance. So as you see, at both the project and market level, AIIB sees a significant role in raising the profile of the Asian region to investors for climate finance. This is supported by continuous efforts to develop and replicate new investments and financing structures in order to increase and mainstream the product offering. As an AMDB, AIIB has an important role to play in bringing parties together to increase the availability of climate finance by recognizing the role and capabilities of each party. AIIB is developing effective structures between the public and private sector, but also incorporating and making better use of the wide range of concessional financing resources. So this is what we've been doing, and we will continue to do our best. And thank you very much for the question.
Thank you. Fantastic answer. We look forward to a continuing deep and fruitful relationship in solving this problem and addressing this challenge. Thank you again for being with us today. And now let's hear from Valérie Bourson, the Chief Executive Officer of Amundi, one of the world's largest fund managers, who's been incredible support for our work and also a pioneer in the allocation of capital to green environmental solutions in developed and emerging markets.
Thank you, Sean. It's a great pleasure to be with you today to address the issue of how to scale up investments to address climate change. To begin with, I would like to highlight the role that I believe the financial sector can and must play to support this transition. The economy needs to undergo a global and significant transformation to reach the objective of net zero emissions by 2050. This transformation will require massive investments and around $9.2 trillion in annual average spending on physical assets. That means $3.5 trillion more than today. In particular, investments in clean energy in emerging and developing economies need to expand by more than 7 times to above $1 trillion under a net zero scenario by 2050. Climate change is everyone's business, public authorities, companies, and the financial sector too. The only way to get concrete and rapid results is to align interests and strategies between all these stakeholders. In this context, I believe that financial institutions have 2 main roles. The first one is to finance the solutions we need to decarbonize the economy, such as renewables, energy efficiency technologies, green transportation, to name just a few. The second one is to influence companies to engage in their transition through our stewardship activities. Amundi is not only one of the top 10 asset managers in the world, but also a leader in responsible investment. Responsible investing has been part of our DNA since inception in 2010. It remains central to our growth story. We are proud to have been the first asset manager to present a Say on Climate resolution this year and to support the global net zero emission objective by joining the Net Zero Assets Managers Initiative. Today is a complex and uncertain period with a high volatility on the markets due to the geopolitical turmoil, energy crisis, and the impact of rising inflation and economic slowdown. In this context, we stand firm in our conviction that responsible investment delivers long-term, sustainable value to our clients and society. Our strong conviction is that to meet the challenge of addressing climate change at scale, it is crucial to develop sustainable capital markets and impactful investment solutions globally, particularly in emerging markets. The success of the global transition depends on the success of the transition in those markets because the bulk of CO2 emissions growth in the coming decades is set to come from emerging markets as they grow faster. The transition is a particularly delicate issue in Asia. Asia is still heavily reliant on coal with a relatively young age of coal power fleets. It is one of the regions most exposed to climate risk. One of the most powerful solutions to bridge the financing gap is the use of blended finance investment solutions that allows to leverage on public capital to catalyze private capital flows. Blended finance has notably been instrumental in supporting the development of the sustainable bond market in emerging markets. Amundi has successfully created public-private partnerships with key institutions around the world. We are particularly proud of our partnership with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, intended to develop a holistic climate framework adapted to emerging market corporates. The partnership has resulted in the creation of the AIIB Amundi Climate Change Investment Framework, endorsed by the Climate Bonds Initiative. It has also allowed Amundi to actively engage issuers across Asia and in AIIB countries of operation to support them on their climate journey. In conclusion, I believe that the coming 5 years will be key. The finance sector needs to support public authorities and companies in their efforts. The AIIB Amundi Climate Change Investment Framework can and will help us get there and push together the frontiers of sustainable finance. Thank you for your attention.